right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar. Can we get a few thumbs up if you can hear me all right, if you can see my screen, if you have no issues? Well, great. See it. All right. So thank you all for joining us on today's webinar. My name is Karim Abdelhamid. I'm a cloud solutions architect and developer, a Microsoft certified trainer. Now, I was actually one of the few lucky ones to get to try out Copilot during its early releases during my period with Microsoft, and just being able to see the development that's been happening with artificial intelligence in general, but specifically Copilot, it has been nothing but insane. Seeing the new features that are being added in, seeing the amount of development effort that's been put in Microsoft Copilot. It has been a great journey, so I'm really excited to be here and thank you all for joining me. Okay, so this webinar is the future of work with AI. So we'll be exploring how artificial intelligence in general, but specifically how Microsoft Copilot is shaping and changing the way we do things at work, how it's shaping the future of innovation, how it is driving productivity and innovation in all organizations that are using Copilot. So we'll be going through some topics of discussion together. Then we'll be jumping on some live demos as well to be able to see for ourselves what Copilot is all about. Right, so we'll begin with an introduction about Copilot. What is Copilot and how does it work? How can I make it work for me? How can I interact with Copilot? You know, talking about prompt engineering and how I can create the effective prompt, etc. All of these things. Then we'll be going into trying Copilot out for ourselves in a live demo. So Copilot in Word, how can I draft different Word documents, drafting emails, drafting letters to stakeholders, for example. Then on PowerPoint, I can create PowerPoint presentations, etc. Outlook, same thing, Teams, OneNote, I can generate ideas using Copilot, which is always something very exciting, as well as whiteboard and forms for creating quick surveys or quick creating surveys, actually. So this is our agenda for today. And actually, I'd like to do this in the beginning of each session that I have. So I would like to do it together. Let me just bring up the tab. I got lost in tabs. There we go. All right. Okay, so I'd like to please ask everyone to either scan the QR code or go to menti.com and then just enter the number at the bottom. So this is just an interactive way for us to answer questions all together and to see just to interact with the group. And once everyone's in, please put the thumbs up on Menti. Great, great, great. Love to see it. Yes. A lot of colorful thumbs ups are coming in. Very nice. Okay, okay. All right. So first of all, I'd like to check in on everyone. How's everyone feeling today? Ramadan Mubarak. First of all, how's Ramadan treating you? Fantastic. Okay, good. Oh, we've got one absolutely drained. Yeah, we've all been there. Okay, okay. Just feeling good. Oh, all right. Hopefully I wouldn't be too much of a burden today. Hopefully we'll have a nice session together. All right. The next question is, what is one task that you do every day or that you feel that you do um, often during your work, your day-to-day work, and you just feel like it takes more time than it should. Something that should be done much quicker than it already is. All right, splitting the room a bit, I see. That's great. That's great. Okay, interesting. Okay. A lot of people said emails. Yeah, I feel you. Meetings. Yeah, drafting documents. Absolutely. I think we can say it's all of the above, really. Uh, but yeah, I see the most common being emails, which I totally agree with. Going through a 2 months old email thread that you've just been looped in on a Friday afternoon, and you need to draft a response in an hour, and you have to go through this 2 month old, and it feels like a decryption task that you're trying to encode who's saying what and who is referencing which document in which part. Yeah, that's definitely a headache. Meetings as well. I think emails and meetings are the two most common responses that I've been getting with this one. It usually splits the room, but really interested in also knowing that drafting documents as well and extracting insights from documents or from emails or from even Teams chat conversations. These are actually also needs of um, a lot of individuals within organizations. All right, so that is great to know. Thank you everyone for that. Um, sorry, start the slideshow just to be cleaner. All right, so we've seen that we probably all struggle with emails and meetings being the biggest headaches of day-to-day tasks. They feel repetitive. We need to do them all the time, and let's be honest, there's no alternative. We can't not just not do them. We can't ignore doing um, and being looped in a 2 month old email, as we said. Or for me personally, is getting invited to a 2 hour long email meeting, sorry, that doesn't really concern me, but I still need to attend it just in case someone has any questions for me or someone needs to assign me to some tasks. Uh, to me, it feels like my focus should be aimed somewhere else, it should be optimized somewhere better. But it is what it is. But now that we've got Copilot, I don't need to imagine that I don't have to go into that meeting, or I can just work on what I'm working with and the meeting is going in the background, and I can be sure that I'm not going to miss anything, or I can have the my personal assistant tool that I can use at any time to extract insights, draft documents, draft emails. This is not imagination anymore. This is a reality. So with Copilot today, anyone can use Copilot to um, to help them increase their productivity and efficiency in day-to-day activities, day-to-day tasks, and really the tasks that we've been uh, asking about, the tasks that most people said that maybe emails or meetings or extracting insights are the most hectic. So all of these tasks now I can offload it onto a generative artificial intelligence model called Copilot, which makes my life easier, makes my work quality better, and makes my time more efficient. Right. So, what is Microsoft Copilot? Well, Copilot is built on the GPT base model. So it's not really Chat GPT, but it's a GPT base model built by OpenAI. But we combine that with your secured data and all of the relationships inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. So each organization in Microsoft 365 would have its own box of resources, let's call it, which is called the tenant. So within the tenant, you will have all of the users, the hierarchy of users, the documents that they're working on, the email conversations that they're having, the Teams chat conversations, the different meetings, calendars, events, and invites that's going on. So all of these components are existing within the same box of resources. Now, once we map out these different relationships, then we're able to navigate through all of these intricate web of relationships. And this mapping out is what we call Microsoft Graph. So Microsoft Graph is a big web of intricate relationships, which maps out who's working with whom, uh, who's collaborating on which document, what email has discussed this topic, what meetings were held in order to, go through this project. So all of these different relationships are mapped out onto Microsoft Graph. Now, put on top of it the generative AI capabilities of Copilot, which is a large language model. Now that gives us Microsoft 365 Copilot. So now you have a large language model, which means it's a generative AI model that's been trained on huge amounts of different data. And that enables it to generate different types of content. Could be text, could be images, could be drafting emails, drafting Word documents. But now you've got all of these large language model capabilities applied on top of Microsoft Graph within your Microsoft 365 applications. And what you get is a personal assistant, your own co-pilot, as the name suggests, that you're driving, but he's right there, always assisting you with tasks. All right, so here we've got a visual representation of Microsoft Graph and what it means. So here we've got the user subscription. He's working with someone, and his manager is this person. He has special events that he's attending. He's a member of different groups. He's working on different files, Excel sheets, Outlook, tasks, PowerPoint presentations, email conversations, etc. So all of these components exist within the Microsoft 365 tenant, and all of these relationships are mapped out onto Microsoft Graph. And now Copilot, once this user in the middle has Copilot, Copilot is able to become aware of all of this ecosystem, which gives it the extra edge in generating the most, oh, sorry about that, the most relevant content there is. All right, so shall we try it out? Let's see. So let me go to my Office 365 tenant. Yeah, sure, Microsoft 365. So this is my Microsoft 365 homepage, and you will see as soon as that you're assigned a Copilot license. So Copilot needs a base Microsoft 365 license, and it also needs an add-on Copilot subscription. So once you've got these two criteria ready, then you'll see the Copilot icon pop up everywhere within Microsoft 365. So regardless of the application that you go to, actually not all of these applications, but most of them, like we've got Loop, Planner, Power Automate, you can use that, calendar, forms. Yes, the session is recorded, and I believe it will be shared with you by someone from our team shortly after the session is concluded. All right, so let's go into Teams and see what we can find out within Copilot. All right, so as soon as I open Teams, I see a Copilot like standalone chat, and this is not specific to any chat. So if I go to my colleague Ayman's chat here, I'll see a Copilot icon that's specific to this chat only. But let's say I am someone within an executive decision, executive position, I mean, sorry. uh, yeah, I'm someone with an executive position. I'm a leader within an organization. I'm involved in a lot of communications. I'm involved in multiple different projects, and I would like to centrally manage getting all of these updates. So let's say there's a specific topic that I'd like to get updates on. So now I would like to, instead of me going to my emails, my calendar, my different meetings that are being recorded and transcribed, and begin analyzing all of these different updates, no one would have the time to do it. So I would like to use Copilot to help me. So let's say I would like to summarize, and let me just use it from my history here. So I'm going to say summarize all my emails, meetings, and chats over the past 30 days related to AI training. So I'm basically asking Copilot to go fetch. I'm asking Copilot to go to my emails, go to my calendar, go to my meetings, my Teams chat conversations. Just look for me for anything that is related to AI training. This is just a sample topic. I can choose any topic. I can also choose any time period. If I'm happy with the prompt, I'll hit generate. And now what Copilot is doing is looking around in the intricate web of relationships that is being mapped out on Microsoft Graph, and it's extracting all of this grounded data that's grounded to my own personal data within the Microsoft 365 tenant. So we can see here different emails with the subject being outlined and what was discussed within the emails. Um, the Copilot adoption program. So I exchanged emails with Ayman, so it knows who Ayman is as well. What was the topic about and what tasks was I assigned related to the topic? The different meetings that I've had over the past month that are related to Copilot training. And I think today's session should be on there. Maybe it's titled something else. It's not showing. Anyways, uh, yeah, there we go. I think that's the one. Or no, it's not the 9th of March. Anyways, we have different chats in Teams that are discussing AI training, and we can see that all the components that were referenced are accessible through here. So I can easily go to any chat or meeting invitation or anything else for that matter. And as soon as I interact with Copilot with a single prompt, it provides me with a response and then gives me other suggested prompts to keep the conversation going. So it's a very nice Copilot functionality that it likes to keep the conversation going. So it's suggesting for me um, more prompts regarding the same conversation context, sort of, that helps me keep the conversation going. So I can say, can you give me more details on the implementation case studies in Qatar? Or let's say the main topics discussed in the future of work with AI. I don't think I have the access to the recording of that session. Um, okay, so I think it's getting it from multiple sessions because I don't think I have access to that particular recording. But we can see AI's role in transforming workplaces, persona-based use cases. That was a different training. Product focus sessions, that's a different training as well. So maybe he's picked up on the topics of the overview of the email that's titled Future of Work with AI. So really, we're going to be seeing best practices for creating prompts, but you want to be as clear as possible with Copilot and give it as much background context as much as possible. All right, so that's centrally managing within Copilot. So what about summarizing specific conversations? So I've got a conversation here with my colleague Fadi, and I'd like to get sure highlights from the past 30 days. We discussed the effective use of AI in the public service sector in Qatar and how it relates to Qatar's digital agenda 2030. How can we increase digital literacy and so on and so forth. So all of these items are being summarized. I can I can draft a response as well. So I can say draft a response to Fadi to suggest improvements to our next steps. So I'm really giving a specific goal or target for Copilot to achieve. I can also include expectations or a specific source of information. So I can say include a suggested timeline for the next 2 weeks in order to start developing the training program, for example. And I hit enter, and now Copilot is taking all of my all the components of my prompt into consideration, and it's also grounding it based on the Teams chat conversations to create content inspired by it. So we can say there's a response here. So, hi Fadi, appreciate your concern, your discussion. I mean, we've got week one with all the days, week two. So it has listened to my expectations, and it has included um, the the timeline as I suggested, and now we can just copy paste the what's it called, the response, or I can use it. You can see here that you'll have a lot of the references from Copilot. So um, actually, I think there's yeah, there used to be a response generation tool here instead of the side pane. Um, but yeah, once you have something that's written, you can use rewrite with Copilot, and but you still have to manually delete all of these references. I think my interface is a bit buggy at the moment, maybe. But anyways, uh, yeah. So we saw earlier that maybe most people would agree that meetings or emails, which we'll see in just a bit, are the most common headaches. Let's go into meetings while we're at Teams. So right here, I've got a recorded meeting. It's not a long one. It's less than a 5-minute recording, but it has also the transcription. So we've got the transcript here. Um, and once you've got Copilot and you are recording your meetings and the meetings are being transcribed, then you can, jump to the point in the meeting. So yeah, so here we've got the recording. When I'm speaking and when Fadi's speaking, what were the topics that we discussed, the different chapters. Now I can look at AI notes. So these are meeting notes generated by Copilot. I can see that we discussed multiple topics. I can start asking Copilot about these talking points. Let's say what were the main talking points of this meeting, but I don't want to stop there because I know that I need to create a more effective prompt. So I can say focus on the key objectives and challenges mentioned in the meeting. And I'll hit enter. So now it's referring back to the transcription and grounding it based on my prompt and generating that content. So you can see it brings they're the same capabilities throughout. They're artificial intelligence capabilities, large language model capabilities, but now they're just super relevant to me and super beneficial because they are being applied to my own data, my own communications, my own meetings that are happening. So it's not like I'm just having a conversation with an artificial intelligence bot, but I actually have the AI model see and look into my what's happening inside my user subscription. So here we've got the main talking points, the gaps, and we can see the referenced are the transcript pieces or the sentences that were mentioned in the meaning. And we've got the different challenges. So trust and change management, how do you address the trust issue, etc., etc. I can say list action items to keep the conversation going. And it will do just that. Right. Okay, so now let's head on to number one on the headaches list of tasks that take more time than they should. Emails and Outlook. But before we go onto Outlook, does anyone have any questions so far? Do things seem clear? Let's get a few thumbs up in chat if all is good. If you've got any question, please let me know. Did I lose you?
No, all good.
Okay, good, good, good. All right. So heading on to Outlook, speaking of the initial scenario that we discussed, the imaginative scenario. So this is an email thread that I was looped in last minute, and this is quite a short email thread, but I've seen much worse, and I'm sure you all have. So assuming this is a very large email thread and you want to use Copilot to really get you the summary in a nutshell, basically. So as soon as you, oh, let me repeat that. Okay. So as soon as as we said, as soon as your Copilot license has been assigned to your user, you'll see the Copilot icon on most the M365 applications. So I can click on the Copilot icon and say summarize. And it says here, me and Fadi discussed the integration of AI in Qatar's public services. And what did we mention? What were the main ideas? I can ask Copilot and have a deeper conversation about the email as well. I can also draft a response. So I'd like to reply over here. Let's say give an update from the sample. So I'd like to give an update about the recent research outcome that the health sector is the best starting point. And I'd like to change the placeholder here to Fadi. So share an update with Fadi about the recent research outcome that the health sector is the best starting point. And click generate. It's going to draft my email for me based on the context of the thread and based off the context of the prompt that I have given it. I feel that it's quite long. I would like to make it shorter. So it edited out. Boom, that sounds good for me. Um, Maybe if it's too casual, I would like to keep it more as formal. So you can see that few words that have been changed. It's a more formal tone of voice. So I have the ability to control that as well. So yeah, let's say I'm happy with it. Oh, sorry, I'd like to keep it. I can send it. I'm not gonna do that. Now let's say um, in one of the emails, we thought that we need to take this discussion further. We need to take it onto a one-on-one meeting, for example. So in that case, I can go to the specific email that I'm concerned with, and they'll find here a schedule with Copilot icon. So as soon as I click that, Copilot will suggest a title for the meeting, and it will add the attendees. I can remove people or add other people. It will suggest a time that's available for everyone involved, but also it can generate an agenda of talking points of what we need to discuss from the meeting, and that's based on the email thread that we have going between us. Oh, sorry, Samia. Is that a problem with everyone, or is it can anyone else not see my screen?
We can see your screen.
And see the
You can.
screen.
Okay. So Samia, I think might be worth it to leave and join again, maybe. Can I demo that again? Absolutely. So what we were saying is that I would like to use Copilot to schedule a meeting with someone. I don't want to create the invitation manually and then add the agenda and the summary of the conversation, all of those things. So all I need to do is click on the email that I'd like to schedule as a meeting, and over here I'll see schedule with Copilot icon. Okay. So as soon as I get my Copilot license assigned, I should see this icon over here. So when I click that, I can see that I'm now creating an invitation, a meeting invitation, right? And it's suggesting a title and the people that should be attending. I can add more people. It's also suggesting a time. I can change the time to something else, and so on and so forth. Right. But also I can have here, so Copilot, we can see the Copilot icon. Copilot has also created the agenda for me of the different talking points that we need to discuss within the email. And this agenda and summary will be attached if I choose to insert them. They will be attached with the meeting invitation. So everyone receiving the invitation will receive the same agenda with the same summary of the conversation so far. So it's an easy way to schedule meetings and create the agenda and have everyone being on the same page. Yeah, right. So it's a much easier way to automate, not automate, but to facilitate scheduling different meetings. Uh, I'm not gonna send that. I can, but I'm not going to. All right. Uh, what else? Are you still facing issues with viewing the screen? All right, let me just for sake of assurance, I'll stop sharing the screen and share it back again. See if that works. All right. Uh, can you see my screen, everyone? Is it okay? Just a couple of thumbs up to be sure. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, great, wonderful. So yeah, so now I've scheduled a meeting with Copilot. I've summarized the meeting with an email with Copilot. I've drafted a response. I've dived deeper into the conversation. That's not really where the functionality stops. Uh, a nice thing about Copilot in Outlook is that I can create rules for my inbox. I can use Copilot to help me organize my inbox. So for example, let's say I would like to create a rule that whenever an email comes in with the word important in the subject, the email gets labeled with a red label. I don't want to go through, I don't want to go to YouTube and click, search how to create a rule in my Outlook inbox, or just Google ways to do it and then start doing them. I'm just gonna ask Copilot. So I'll say create a rule to label any email with the word important in the subject as a red label. And I'll hit generate. Now what Copilot is doing is it's first trying to understand how to do this task, and now it's going to do it. So we can see here there's a rule that's been created, categorize emails with important in the subject as red. If the subject includes important, categorize as red category. And I can just save. Now, in terms of Copilot doing tasks on your behalf, it does come with some borders and some limitations, but generally speaking, again, test it out for yourself and try to put it under as much stress as possible, and see if it's a task that can be done using Copilot or it's going to say, I apologize, I'm not able to do this. But as far as inbox rules are concerned, as well as conditional formatting and other stuff, yeah, you can get away with letting Copilot do the work for you. Okay. All right. Any questions? Everything good? All right. So we've seen a bit of a taste of Copilot, specifically in Teams and Outlook. Right. So Copilot comes in different flavors, right, or different models. So there's the free version of Copilot, which is available for everyone in Microsoft Edge. So if anyone is using Microsoft Edge, even if you don't have a Copilot license, you'll see on the top right here, there's a Copilot icon that you can use. Now, if you don't have a Copilot license, or it's not tied to your Microsoft 365 tenant, then this is just another large language model that you can use while browsing to generate content, but it's not really relevant to your Microsoft 365 subscription. Now, there's also the premium version, which is for individuals, not for organization, and it's the paid subscription version. So you can use that to actually start using Copilot in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Outlook or OneNote. So that's the individual version. And now Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 is the business version, and you need a base business license for Microsoft 365 to be able to use it. And this is what we've been showing, and what we're really talking about is getting this full-on seamless integration between all the different Microsoft 365 applications and helping individuals within an organization to increase productivity and efficiency and offload a lot of the repetitive tasks that take too much time. These are the applications that you can use Copilot for, and there's actually more than that. So thinking about Power Automate, you can use Copilot in tandem with Power Automate to automate some tasks for Copilot to do. So sending an update email, taking data from a specific Word document that gets updated, for example. So you can use Copilot and along with Power Automate to be able to achieve that. Now there are other Copilot, let's say, extensions or versions that you can use in other applications, such as GitHub Copilot, which is for code generation, code editing, and writing. Dynamics 365 Copilot, and that's the AI assistant that you will use for your CRM or ERP management systems. If you've got Dynamics 365 sales, marketing, customer journeys, all of these. So all of the Dynamics 365 suite, you can use Copilot on that as well to help you extract insights or learn what's happening or get updates, or the possibilities are endless as long as the capabilities are there. We've also got the Power Platform Copilot, which is helps in app creation in Power Apps. So you can use Copilot to help you create applications in Power Apps, whether they're model-driven applications or data-driven applications. And you've got the Copilot for security as well. So that gets applied on top of the Microsoft suite of security solutions, such as Sentinel, which is probably the largest and best security solution in the market from Microsoft. But you can use Copilot on top of that as well to be able to generate a playbook for security breaches or apply security policies in your environment, or generally check for vulnerabilities, and so on and so forth. So all of these are different flavors of Copilot. And I think from the demos that we've seen so far, it becomes quite obvious to us, or apparent maybe, that Copilot is not targeted for a specific group of people or individuals within a specific specialization. I think it's fairly easy to recognize that someone who's working at the help desk, helping customers as they come in, or a customer service representative, or a sales specialist, or an IT manager, or a security specialist, or even a leader or a strategist or an executive member of their organization. Everyone can use Copilot to increase their efficiency and have a higher productivity and boost their overall quality of work, right? Any questions so far? Yep, go ahead.
I have a question. Actually, I'll explain a real scenario which we face. We've got a group email, where we receive thousands of emails every day. Okay. And being the head of the team, I want to see, how if any email has not been answered. So can Copilot help me in this?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you're mentioning a group email of thousands of emails every day, so um, but that's quite a heavy amount. So I would say within your prompt, so I can say something like, okay, let me actually formulate that in Outlook. So let's say, oh no, that's not the one. Let's say this is my thread over here. So I'll go to Copilot and I'll say um, summarize the emails in this thread, and I would specify a time period. So during the last 24 hours, uh, focus only on the points that have not been replied to. So now you're not just including the emails that were not replied to, but even specific points within emails or concerns that have not been addressed correctly. But with that amount of emails every day, then you definitely need to use some type of bounding criteria so that Copilot does not have to query thousands and thousands of emails and then filter out, which emails were not responded to, etc. So you just need to put some sort of limitation on it. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, not really. Actually, I wanted to. My question was, let's say I received 1,000 emails in the group email inbox, okay, and the team has answered some. I want to only see that, email which has not been answered yet. Let's say out of 1,000, let's say 10 are not answered. So I want to see only those 10 emails. Which 10 emails which have not been answered by the team?
When you say you want to see it, you want to hide everything else from the inbox. So here I would
Uh,
like to hide everything else that's been answered
Yeah,
already.
like Copilot can tell me that these are the 10 emails which have not been answered.
Yeah, it can tell you here within the chat. So you can use the same prompt here and show me only the emails that have not been replied to, and it will create a list and will reference the emails for you with a clickable link. But in terms of hiding emails that were not responded to, it will not do that. But it will show you a list of all the emails that were not responded to.
Okay, that's great. That answers
No
my
worries.
question. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. Any other questions? No. Okay, cool. All right. So moving on to prompt engineering or the art of the prompt. So there are general guidelines that we should use when we create prompts or generate the prompt that we're going to use with Copilot. And the first thing would be to um, identify your goal. What is it that I want to achieve from Copilot, right? So in this example over here, for example, I want to summarize a meeting, right? Then after specifying a goal, I need to specify a context. I need to give Copilot some background information around what it is that I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so yeah, in this example, I gave it some context. I was late for the meeting, etc., etc. I should also always or almost always specify a source of information. Now, that source can be a specific person, a specific thread of emails, a specific document or meeting, and I can reference all of these things, and we'll see that later on in the live demos that we're continuing with. And finally, I should include my expectations. What is it that I expect from Copilot to include? So in this example, for example, in this little example of an efficient prompt, it asks Copilot to include the project timeline. I can say include the response in the in the format of a table, for example. So whether there are specific points of discussion that I need or that I expect to be included in the Copilot response, or whether there's a specific format of a response that I'm expecting, I should specify that to Copilot. Okay, let's head back to our office tenants. Let's not try Copilot in Teams. I would like to go now to Word. Sure. So I've got this blank document that I'm trying to create. All right, so I would like to draft. So let's say, first of all, I have this guide. All right, where did it go? There we go. I've got this document over here, which serves as a sort of a quick guide to Qatar's Digital Agenda 2030, what are the vision and goals, what are the different initiatives, et cetera, challenges and opportunities, and so on and so forth. So let's say I would like to create a training proposal for a new training program that's based on this document over here. So I'm gonna begin with the goal. So create a training proposal. I'm not gonna stop there. I need to give it some context for our newest training program. And keep going with the contest. The program focuses on upskilling using AI tools to increase efficiency and collaboration. All right, now I need to specify a specific source of information. Use the attached guide as a reference. And then I can include a section for target audience and end with recommendations for improvement. So these are my expectations. So here I've defined the goal, I've given it enough context, and I've given it a source of information, and the expectations have been outlined. So all I need to do is attach. So there are a couple of ways to reference files for Copilot. One of them is using a forward slash, or the other one is clicking over here, or you can then browse files from the cloud if they don't show immediately on the quick access. But we can see straight away here that we can reference Word or PowerPoint documents. We can also reference emails, and we can also reference meetings. So if these meetings have an agenda and if they've been recorded and transcribed, then we can reference those as well. So let me go to the file and reference Qatar's digital agenda. Click generate, and we'll see in a second that it's generating the training proposal based on my inputs. Yes, a question, Liliana.
Thank you, Karim. In terms of security, any document that is going to be attached will remain within the company cloud, right? It's not going to be shared or restricted towards the public cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you take it back a couple of steps where we were discussing, we mentioned Microsoft Graph, and Microsoft Graph is within this Microsoft tenant. So each organization will have its tenant, and each tenant has a Microsoft Graph that maps out all of these different relationships. Now, to begin with, I cannot reference files to Copilot without having the files first being present in my tenant. So they need to be either in my OneDrive or SharePoint of my user subscription or within my Microsoft tenant. Okay, so that's the first point. So in order to reference a file, I cannot reference files from my local machine, for example. I need to first have it on my OneDrive or SharePoint, and then I can reference it to Copilot. Now, remember when we said that we are taking the large language model capabilities and we are applying them on top of Microsoft Graph. So the data is not leaving my tenant. The data is not being trained on somewhere else, like ChatGPT, for example. When we have a conversation with ChatGPT, this conversation is actually used to retrain the model. That is not the case with Copilot. Even Microsoft does not have access to the data that's being processed by Copilot. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, Karim. And one more question. For example, if I need to compare for any document using also not only information from the local cloud OneDrive or the files that I have in the Microsoft Cloud from the company, but also inputs coming from the web. That will remain also private towards the company, or you will be now you access also data from the web in combination with data from our local file, then that will be then going to the public cloud.
So let me rephrase the question just to make sure that I understood correctly. So let's say I'm comparing multiple files that I have in my Microsoft tenant, in my OneDrive or SharePoint, but I also want to include um, data from the web or content that's being generated from the web, and I would like Copilot to generate that content for me and mix with my private files. Does so the question here is, does that make my private files accessible on the public web? Is that the question?
Correct. Correct.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
So what's in my tenant does not leave my tenant whatsoever. If it's being processed by Copilot, it's being processed without any access to any external parties. Not even Microsoft has access to that data that's being processed.
Thank you.
If I would like to include data from the web, I can do that. And Copilot will use the base model that it has been trained on huge amounts of data to process that request and get me the latest updates. But that doesn't enforce a mix between my private data and the web-based data. Um, it just makes the generated content much more richer.
Thank you very much for the
No
clarification,
worries.
Karim.
No worries. Yes, got another question.
Yeah. Hi, Kareem. I just have a build-up question to what Liliana asked. So I get it that the kind of data that we are looking at is sits within the cloud environment of our organization. So what happens when I'm trying to do like a research around particular data? I do get a lot of the files that are available within my organization. Am I not expected to also have that data after validating it at a wider level within the Microsoft scope?
I don't think I quite get the question. What do you mean at a wider level within the Microsoft scope?
So, for example, if I'm trying to search for new initiatives, new technology initiatives in the learning space, yeah, I'll use that as an example. So, when I'm
Okay.
trying to, when I search that on Copilot, what I end up getting is all files that are within my organization,
Hmm.
right? I don't receive files that would do like a search across different online platforms and then give me different sources. Is that a more organizational limitation that we have, or is it not within the scope?
Yeah, it could be. So it could be within Copilot that web-based responses or web-based content is being limited by your organization. A nice way to check for that is try to specifically ask for web-based content. You can say, search the web for the best practices of this and that, and bring me the results and see if it will generate these results or not. If not, then yeah, there is a restriction by the organization to limit web-based content.
Okay, clear. Thanks.
No worries. All right, so I've generated this training proposal for an AI upskilling program, and it looks quite nice. I'm kind of happy with it, with a recommendations for improvement section. Excuse me. As I specified, let's say here I would like to, uh, I'll go to Copilot again and say add a section for a proposed timeline with different phases, for example, and hit enter. And there we go. It's now adding a section of a timeline of different phases. We've got the planning and development, then we've got the pilot program, full scale implementation, then the evaluation phase. If I'm happy with it, I can keep it. If not, I can keep editing and so on and so forth. Now, moving on to, so now I've created the project proposal on Word. What if I'd like to use that proposal as the blueprint for a PowerPoint presentation? So now I can go to PowerPoint and I can choose a specific template because, of course, organizations always work within templates. So I've got this template with specific backgrounds, specific font colors, font types, title slides, section slides, etc. So I want to use that presentation, but I want to replace it with a new presentation. And it will say create a presentation about what? Well, I would like to create about the training proposal. So I've started with a guide, then I've created a proposal of the guide, and now I'm creating a PowerPoint presentation for the project proposal. And I'll click generate. Now, one of the limitations of Copilot is it can only generate up to 40 slides maximum. So we can see here, it's taking the training proposal and it's generating the draft outline for me with all the different titles and different talking points. Let's say I would like to remove um, some of the topics over here. I don't want it to be too chunky, just so that it doesn't take too long in generating. Let's leave the present, yeah, recommendation, proposed timeline, sure. I can even, you know, reorganize, and once I'm happy with the draft, I click generate. Now what Copilot is going to do is it's going to populate the different slides for me with titles, with stock images, with even slide transitions and slide animations. So we'll see in a bit how I almost have a ready-made PowerPoint presentation. Yes, question.
Yeah, hi. So,
Hi.
just want to know, generally we have a lot of data in our Excel packs. Okay.
Mhm.
What opcos are reporting it to group, we get a lot of data, right?
Mhm.
And then what happens is now two challenges. One is we convert that data into our review format, okay, in which we would like to see certain trends or certain KPIs, certain evaluation, right?
Mhm.
And the second is we also want to, second step is we also want to convert into a PowerPoint, right? So for us, both is like time consuming. First is what we are getting raw data from the opcos, converting into our own review format. And then from review format, we want to actually convert into a PPT so that we can have the same thing coming up in the graph or something like that. So is it something which Copilot can do?
So there are Copilot capabilities in Excel, but we need to keep in mind that Copilot is not a data analysis tool. So it's a good starting point for extracting obvious insights that might take you some time to achieve, but it's not the tool to go to for full-on data analysis and visualization. There is an extension for Copilot within Power BI that maybe you can use to, once you ingest your data, to use Copilot to start extracting the insights, but it's more of a starting point. There are some functionalities within Excel to, draw some simple graphs, and we'll see that later on. But it's not really dedicated to data analysis or data visualization. In terms of converting that to PowerPoint, you can only reference Word documents to create a PowerPoint presentation. So you cannot reference anything else. So if I open a blank presentation and I'm trying to create a presentation about a certain reference, um, over here, the only type of files I'll see are Word documents. Okay.
So I
Does
can't
that,
attach. I think there is if you do a reference file, click on that. Yes.
it's only
So
for Word
it's
documents.
don't get any other Excel file or anything, right? No.
No, not even other PowerPoints. And
Okay.
with Excel, you cannot reference anything. So Copilot in Excel only functions within the Excel sheet that it's being operated in. Because of course, Excels can be quite complicated with pivot tables and charts and different relationships between the data. So as of yet, so until now, these are the functionalities available with Copilot in Excel is just to extract insights or summarize the data or explain the data to us, but it's all within the same Excel sheet that we're operating in. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Nice. All right, so let's say I'm happy with how it looks. I'll keep it, and we'll see here. There are title slides, and the font is being kept the same, slides, animations, and transitions. Some stock images were added to the talking points as well. I can have another conversation with, oops, sorry about that. So I can open a conversation with Copilot and say, for example, what is going on? Yeah, so I can generate an image. So instead of stock images, I can generate an image of a person reaching the finish line. So that can be a representation of the objectives, for example. And we see due to its multimodal architecture, multimodal, that means that Copilot can deal with different modes of input and output. So it can deal with images as well as text. There's actually talk with Copilot, but since we're in a meeting, it's the mic is disabled. But I can actually use voice commands with Copilot. So we can see here, I've got some realistic, some cartoonish. Let's say I want to use the cartoonish one over here. So I'll click that and click insert. I can add a whole slide. I can say, add a slide that says this and that, that has the image of mountains, all of these things. So it's about generating content. It's about understanding the content that's already existing and how I can reach it faster and how can I can make it more efficient, that bit more quicker. Right. Let's head on to Excel. All right. So let's say I've got this. Which one should we go for? Yeah, sure. Why not? So let's say I've got this Excel sheet right here, the pivot tables. Okay, let's delete those. All right, so we've got this Excel sheet right here for a product, chai tea, and we have the sales values for this product by date, and we've got the total sales, and we've got by item, some product called artisanal and some called pre-made, and we've got social media engagements and online searches for chai, all of these in an Excel sheet. Now I can use Copilot, and once I open the Copilot chat, I can get the suggested prompts that I can use with Copilot. So I can say summarize using pivot charts or tables, get deeper analysis results using Python. So then that would allow me to create a script, a Python script to be able to automate the analysis. And then it will answer if I'm trying to extract deep insights from the Excel sheet. Or, I can say suggest a formula column. So let's say over here, I would like to add another piece of measurement or another KPI to be able to understand the Excel sheet better. So here it has suggested the engagement rate, and it's explaining the formula for me. So it says calculates the engagement rate by dividing the number of social media views by the total units sold. So social media views divided by the total units sold gives me this number. And the lower the number is means the higher the correlation between social media views and the total units sold. Okay, so I can insert that into the column if I'm happy with it. And here I have got the unit of measurement. Okay, and I can see here to keep the conversation going, I've got the show data insights prompt. So let me choose that. And what that will do is it will create some visual representation of a relationship within my data. So we can see here that it's showing the engagement rate by date relationship. And we can see here there's an outlier of a very high engagement rate on a specific date. So let's say add all insights to grid. What that will do is it will create multiple pivot tables of all the different relationships and graph all of the relationships onto different graphs. So we can see here engagement rate by date, and we see this one outlier. It's been even highlighted here. So these are the views, social media engagement views, and we have an outlier on the 30th of July. So now I can go back and see what happened on the 30th of July. I can go back to the date, go back to my marketing campaigns. Maybe I had some special campaign that's launched that date, etc. So we can see how we can use Copilot in Excel to not necessarily do a full-on analysis, but um, to get closer and make better sense of the data much quicker than manually doing all of the analysis techniques. Now we can also see that it's not a sophisticated data analysis tool, but it's also useful to have for something that you want to get quick insights, you want to get a quick overview on the different relationships between your pieces of data. And that's where Copilot could be useful. Right? Any questions? Actually, here's a little bonus cookie for everyone. So even within OneDrive itself, within the homepage of OneDrive, let's say I've got. So let's say I have these two resumes. I can select the resumes without opening them and going to the Copilot icon. Now I can choose to summarize or compare files or to ask questions. So let's compare files. So it's going to compare between these two resumes, not just the metadata, but also the content and what other information have been there. Oh, yeah, there we go. So we can see the job title here. It's animation designer. Here it's a senior animation designer. Summary, etc. Work experience. It's highlighted here. So I don't even need to go through the document itself. I can just know from the outside, and I can ask more questions as well about it. So here it will open a chat pane with Copilot. It has compared, and now I can have a deeper conversation with Copilot about this comparison. Right. Okay, so now let's get into more of generating ideas using Copilot. How can I use Copilot to help me brainstorm different ideas and help me get a lot of ideas out there? Excuse me. So let's say I'd like to go to Loop. And Loop, by the way, is a collaboration tool that can be used by teams to create, different boards that we can see the updates real time. Have an announcement page, a to-do list, a place where we can announce successes or announce what do we need to do next, or lessons learned, for example, if we're just coming out of a sprint. So all of these things, it's a nice collaboration tool where um, where teams can get together in real time and collaborate and generate different content. And the nice thing is I can use Copilot in Loop in order to achieve all of these tasks. So over here, I can say use the document, and I'll try to reference the document. Project proposal to create a marketing campaign, ideas to create, let's say to generate marketing campaign ideas to promote for this proposed training program, and hit generate, and in a second it's going to generate. And there we go. It has used the project proposal to create campaign ideas that we can use for marketing. Now, if I'm happy with it, I can keep it. If not, I can rewrite it, or I can simply add sections. So let's say I'd like to add a section over here, and click / to mention Copilot. And let's say I would like to add a section for branding, for example. There we go, and we can see here there's a section for branding that's being added. Now I can copy this and paste it anywhere within my document, brand promotion, brand experience, etc. Now, continuing with the idea of brainstorming using Copilot, I've got what I was looking for. Yes, OneNote. I've got OneNote over here, so I'll create a new notebook. For example, I'll call that brainstorming. I'll create it. Where does it exist? Okay. It's weird. Where did it go? There we go. All right. So OneNote is used for note taking. So I can add. I need to enter. Okay. Add a section. Ideas. And let's call this page. What shall we call it? Training program. New ideas. Let's say I'd like to name my program with um, attractive new names that might be beneficial. Oh, has it been disabled? It's unfortunate. It's not right. Okay. Um, there seems to be some maybe permission issues with getting Copilot on OneNote. That is unfortunate. Uh, okay. Let's go to whiteboard. That should definitely work. Let's see if forms. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's a some issue with Copilot and OneNote. Anyways, so with Forms, Forms is a tool that you can create surveys or questionnaires or feedback forms. So you can use Copilot to draft the questions for your feedback form. So let's say create a small feedback form um, for employees to gather their feedback on the latest updates to HR policies, for example. So let's say we're in human resources. We'd like to do a quick pulse check of the employees, and we want to generate that feedback form. So over here, we hit generate. And there we go. In a matter of seconds, it's created the questions. How satisfied are you with the recent updates, etc. What changes would you suggest? Now I can add questions, remove questions, or I can ask for better improvements. Then I can use one of the templates, and my form is ready within seconds if that's something that I'd like to keep. Okay, so I can view the suggestions by Copilot. And it's going to suggest improvements to my form. All right, any questions? And again, I cannot stress this enough. There is no way we can show all of the functionalities of Copilot. So the best thing to do would be to use it yourself and use it in as many applications as you can with different functionalities as you can, and really try to stress test it and bring it to its limits. Basically, try to break Copilot. It's very fun trying to break Copilot, and I recommend everyone trying to do it. But I guarantee you that you will be surprised how far the limitations stretch out to. Like you will be surprised how large the capabilities can be. Um, but then going into Word and trying to change the color or the format of a specific piece of text, and Copilot absolutely fails. So it's really fun knowing where the capabilities lie and how creative can you get with it, and where are barriers or the blockers, the limitations of Copilot might be. Okay, so let's try Copilot whiteboard. So whiteboard, you can think of it as sticky notes on steroids. It's a way to create and organize boards, sticky note boards for collaboration as well. So you can be on a team meeting and everyone is following on the same board. We're creating flowcharts, etc. So I can generate content based on Copilot response. So I can say steps or phases of developing a training program. And now I know this prompt might not be very efficient and it doesn't have a lot of the guidelines or best practices that we mentioned. But Whiteboard actually struggles, or Copilot within Whiteboard struggles quite often with generating content when it's a very large prompt. All right, so phases of developing a training program, needs assessment, design the program, develop training materials. I can click insert or I can generate more. It will generate more steps. Okay, if I'm happy with that, I'll click insert. And there we go. We have these steps over here. Let's say I'm not happy with grouping them, so I'd like to categorize them into different categories. So I go to Copilot and click categorize. And there we go. We've got the planning, development, implementation, evaluation. I can do a quick summary of these different phases. And we'll see over here. So this has created a loop workspace. Sorry. What is with my chat? So it has created a loop workspace with the summary of this project plan that I created. And we can see here the it also linked to the whiteboard that I have over here. So it's a very nice tool as well for collaboration. And if you have a design thinking workshop, for example, or something that needs a lot of visual aids, using flowcharts, etc., then whiteboard would be your go-to. Right. Does anyone have any questions? All right. So this is a prompt library from Microsoft where you can see different suggested prompts. So if you go to aka.ms/Copilot Lab, you can look for example, what would be an effective prompt to get the latest updates on a specific topic. So you would go to that and see how would you effectively write this prompt. Now, sorry, it's eating some of my screen. Okay. Okay, the bar is stuck there. So some of the Copilot capabilities that we've went over so far. So drafting and editing, whether that's emails or Teams chat conversations, and you want to draft a response to that, or drafting full-on documents. We've seen the training proposal. I can do market research reports. I can do sales analytics reports based on tables in a Word format or a Word file, etc. I can summarize any type of document that I have, including Excel documents, analyzing the data with its own limitation, but we can turn the raw data into visualizations in Excel. We've seen also how we can increase collaboration. So with tools like Loop and Whiteboard, or even having the ability for everyone that they are able to summarize and they are able to extract insights from emails or meetings or whatever, everyone having the ability to reference a meeting retrospectively and gain insights from what was said. All of these things contribute to increasing collaboration and communication within an organization. With time, while using Copilot more and more often, you can almost guarantee that that everyone will be on the same page, that nothing will be lost in translation, and people will actually be focused on doing what matters most instead of wasting time on things that could be too much time consuming. So now they have the breathing room and the ability to actually focus on the creative and innovative work that they can be doing. We've also seen ideating with Copilot, generating different ideas, having a conversation back and forth. This is something that I do quite often. Is I would argue with Copilot. So I would ask for ideas, then question their beliefs, and criticize something and praise something else that they've mentioned. So it's a back and forth conversation until I'm happy with the content that I've reached. Now we've done the Copilot in action in quite a different order. I always like to keep the demos ahead, just in case someone has any questions. We have time for them. So we've seen Copilot in Teams and Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Loop, and uh, Forms and Whiteboard as well. I think it becomes very obvious why Copilot is helpful. And again, as we mentioned, it's not meant for a specific group of people. One of the slogans in Microsoft is to empower every organization on the planet to achieve more. So we're trying to, Copilot is empowering not just a specific group of individuals in a specific specialization within an organization, but it's empowering everyone to be able to learn better and what it's called, achieve more and achieve quicker results productively. As me personally, I won't be sharing the recordings, but someone from our team will be sharing the recording from a coordinator from your side. If you haven't received the recordings of the earlier sessions, so I recommend reaching out to your point of contact. But you should be receiving the recording. I'm not sure about the slides deck. It could be the case, but
Hi,
you can.
Karim. I'll just jump in quickly to
Yeah,
answer this
sorry. Thank you.
question.
Yes.
Yes, you will be getting the recordings, and we will be sending a thank you email for your attendance shortly. This will be also available on our YouTube channel. All of these recordings will be available for the learners that attended. So definitely we'll have access to the recordings from all the webinars. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanya. Well, there you have it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, there's a question. Yes, Mubashir.
Yeah, I have a question. So, I mean, can we train Copilot, or so to say, can I customize it to, like, how should I say, for example, when you are generating some text using Copilot, so it is kind of a, machine language, you can say. So how can we train it to be more personalized when you are replying, for example, taking the text and sending a reply on email, for example, it should look more natural. So how can we train Copilot to, somebody's own writing style?
Right. That's a great question. And yes, it is possible to create your own Copilot agent. So the way you do that is there is Copilot Studio, and it's where you can customize your Copilot agents. So let's say, for example, if a firm deals with, so it's a law firm, for example, and it deals with a lot of very specific and technical cases that are specialized in the country's law. So in that case, a general generative AI would not be very suitable. You need a more specialized artificial intelligence model. So in that case, you can use the base models of Copilot, but customize them and train them on your own data. Of course, it comes with its own cost. But once you do that on Copilot Studio, you can then publish that Copilot agent to other users within your organization. So that becomes your own, custom-made Copilot agent. Does that answer the
Thank you.
question?
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
great. Wonderful. All right, so that brings us to the last bit. Yes, Nuruddin, go ahead.
Hello, and thank you for the presentation. I have a small question.
Yeah.
As we are using like confidential data, is it all right to analyze data and using Copilot to do these tasks?
Yeah, so when we're speaking about Copilot and term matters of security and privacy, uh, yes, you can guarantee a very high level of security and privacy when it comes to Copilot. So if, for example, my manager has an access to a specific file that's confidential and I don't have access to, but I'm using Copilot and he's using Copilot, that doesn't mean that my Copilot can access that file because each Copilot is tied to a user subscription, so it will follow the access of that user. That also means that my data cannot be accessed from anywhere outside my tenant, and even Microsoft would not have access to my data that's being analyzed by Copilot. However, in matters of data privacy and security, we always say you can never be too careful. So when you're dealing with sensitive and confidential data, it's always advised to be that bit extra vigilant and careful when you're dealing with artificial intelligence model. So you can put your mind at ease a bit in analyzing specific pieces, but you still want to be careful with the data that you're sharing because as a cybersecurity concept, everyone is a risk, everyone is a threat. So that's just something to keep to keep in your mind. But you can refer to responsible AI framework of Microsoft and see how Microsoft makes sure that Copilot is a secure and private uh, channel or way of doing work. But again, with confidential and sensitive data, you just need to be extra careful.
Yes, I will extend my question a little bit. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah.
Uh, are you using your servers or you are still using the cloud or you do servers where the data is stored?
So the data is stored inside your tenant. It doesn't leave your tenant. It doesn't get stored anywhere else. I actually have I think it might take me a while to look into the architecture, but basically, so the processing that's happening, it's happening on Microsoft owned and managed servers, but without having access into what's being analyzed inside. So the data itself does not get stored anywhere else. The prompt, so it's called grounding. So once I enter a prompt to Copilot, sorry, let's go over here. So when I'm chatting with Copilot and I enter a prompt, the first thing it does is it takes my prompt and grounds it on all of the context within my tenant, and then takes that grounded prompt to the Microsoft servers for processing and comes back with a response. So the data itself does not leave the tenant, but the prompt itself is what's being enhanced and grounded onto the context of my data, and then it's being analyzed and the response is being generated later on. Is that clear or was it a bit confusing?
Yes, yes, it is clear. As long as we are already using Microsoft List and everything, so our data is already on Microsoft platforms. So it's like an extension on
Yeah, exactly.
Copilot. Yes.
Exactly. You're just adding the large language model capabilities on top of the data already in your tenant. I'm just not sure where would the architecture be. Hmm, maybe I'll try to.
You don't have to go to that deep
Oh, in
in
there.
detail. So the idea is clear.
It was a nice graph to show to everyone. Maybe I'll try to get it up later. But yeah, any other questions, please? Okay, all good. Making sure everyone's well. All right. Thank you guys so much. This has been a great session. There are only two things left for us to do right now. First one would be to claim your Microsoft certificate and badges. And the way we'll do that is through redeeming the voucher codes, achievement code for this webinar. I'll go through the process in a bit. And the second thing would be the feedback form. I always enjoy Copilot sessions, especially, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope the people that were feeling a bit drained, I hope that I didn't make it even worse. So I hope that you're feeling a bit better. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you on a walkthrough for redeeming the achievement codes. So the first step would be to go to learn.microsoft.com. Thank you very much, Dalia. And you want to sign in it's recommended that you sign in with your personal Microsoft account. So you can then go to profile. Then on the left side, you will see achievements. Click on that. And you'll see a redeem your code now. So then you enter the code right here and you click redeem. Once you do that, you'll get a bunch of cool new badges that you can share. And also if you go to courses, you will see um, you'll see I think it's neither one of these. I think it's a different title, but you see a certificate come up and you can print it, save it as PDF or share it online, do anything that you wish to do with it. So that's for the redeeming the achievement codes. And for the feedback form, I'll be dropping the link right now. Sorry about that. Yeah. Great. The link. Okay, so this is the link for the feedback forms, form singular, sorry. And let's see the link for the achievement codes. There we go. That's the correct one. That's the link for the achievement code. If you want to go through the process of manually entering the code, this is the code that you need to use, MDT. Thank you very much. So these are the only two things left for us to do. I will leave both screens up for everyone's reference, and I will be hanging around the session a bit longer in case someone has any questions or issues with redeeming the codes and the feedback form. If you're done with these two tasks, please feel free to leave the meeting if there's nothing else I can do for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi Kareem. Hi. Sorry. Can you
Yeah.
just tell us again where do you download the certificate?
Right. So have you redeemed it successfully?
Yeah, I just logged into the Microsoft account from my office ID, email ID.
Okay, great. And
And
then
then what
profile.
next?
So you'll find your initials at the top or your image, top right. I'm showing it on the screen if you want to use it for reference.
Yeah, I can see. There's a
Then
profile
your
and settings. Yeah, correct.
profile. Yeah, great. Profile. Then scroll down on the left side on this list, you'll see achievements.
But when I go to profile, nothing comes. It's showing me as something. I don't know. Okay.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm just opening it once again. Yeah, I can see now. There was something it was asking now. Okay, so now activity training plans.
Yeah,
Where should I?
achievements. You want to go to
Achievements. Ah, okay, okay. Achievement, you can see that. Okay, fine, fine, fine.
Then you
So
see redeem your code
that you have
now.
to put the code there, right? Which you give me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And once that is redeemed, you will find the certificate under courses and you can print it or save it as PDF.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to help.